Before I start, hit that subscribe button and comment below if you've ever faced someone who underestimated you, because this story will make you rethink everything. I didn't know I'd end up in a room with a Korean Mafia boss at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. Honestly, I didn't even plan to meet him. But when your best friend insists you go to a business networking event, you end up in places you never imagined. And that's how I found myself standing in the middle of a luxury penthouse, the kind you see in movies, with walls of black marble and chandeliers that could blind you if you stared too long. I wasn't scared. Not yet. I'm not the type to back down. I've spent my life being the alpha in every room I enter. But the second I saw him, I realized this wasn't a normal room. He was tall, impossibly sharp in a suit that screamed power, and his eyes, they were cold, calculating, and somehow magnetic all at once. He looked at me and smirked. "You're different." I raised an eyebrow. "Different good or different bad?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "No one gets to see me sweat." He chuckled. "We'll find out." And just like that, the game began. I remember the first 10 minutes like it was a movie scene. People were talking, laughing, champagne glasses clinking, but I was focused only on him. He seemed to notice it, because every few seconds, I'd catch his gaze lingering on me, intense, unblinking, measuring me like I was a chess piece. I don't know why, but a part of me felt excited. Dangerous. That thrill of not knowing if he would be an enemy or an ally is what makes people like me unstoppable. Then came the first test. A man walked past, whispered something in his ear, and suddenly, his expression darkened. He turned to me slowly and said, "You understand. I don't like people who hide things from me, right?" I smiled, unfazed. "I don't like people who underestimate me either." His lips twitched. "Bold. I like that." Before I could reply, a commotion erupted near the entrance. Someone had tried to sneak in. Security moved fast, but the Mafia boss's voice stopped them instantly. "Let her come in." My heart skipped. A young woman entered, clearly scared, holding a small envelope. The room went silent as he opened it. I caught a glimpse. It was a contract of some sort. His expression didn't change, but his eyes flickered, briefly, like a storm passing over the sea. I realized then that this wasn't a casual event. This was a test. And apparently, I had just passed the first round, or maybe I hadn't. I decided to push the boundaries. Most people would be intimidated by now. But I leaned slightly forward, resting my hand on the bar, and said, "I'm not scared." "Is that a problem?" He studied me like he was trying to see through my entire soul. Then he smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. "No, it's refreshing." That's when I noticed the way his men looked at me. Respect mixed with caution. Everyone knew who he was. Everyone knew the stories. And yet, he let me stand there, speaking freely, challenging him, unafraid. I knew I had his attention, and in his world, attention was power. He leaned closer, and I caught a faint scent of something, expensive, intoxicating. "Most people," he said quietly, "would have run by now. You are different." "I don't run," I replied simply. Something in the room shifted. The air felt heavier. And just as I thought I had read him, his phone rang. He answered in Korean, speaking so fast I couldn't follow, but I didn't need to. I could feel the tension spike through his body. When he hung up, he turned to me with a gaze that felt like a challenge. "You're interesting. I haven't met someone like you in a long time." I smirked. "Good. Because I don't do ordinary." And then, the twist. A shadow appeared behind him, a figure I didn't recognize. He whispered something. The Mafia boss's face darkened, and for a split second, I thought I saw a flicker of fear. He turned back to me, calm as ever. "Looks like the night just got more complicated." My heart raced. Finally, real excitement. I loved complications. They meant opportunity. I moved closer, confidently, knowing that every step I took was being calculated. "Complications can be fun," I said. He tilted his head. "Indeed. But they can also be deadly." That's when I realized the stakes. I wasn't just playing in his world. I was stepping into a dangerous game, and he wasn't sure if I was a pawn or a queen. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A message flashed on the screen. Be careful. He's not what he seems. I laughed softly. Not out loud, just to myself. I like a challenge. He noticed. What's so funny? Nothing, I replied, tucking my phone away. I just enjoy playing games. His smile returned, colder this time. Games are only fun when both players know the rules. And that, my friends, is how the night really began. Before the chaos got real, hit subscribe and comment Alpha Energy if you think a woman like me doesn't back down from danger. The shattered glass on the balcony sent a chill down the room. Security swarmed, but I didn't move. My eyes were locked on him, the Korean Mafia boss, and for the first time, I realized he wasn't just a man of power. He was a man who thrived on control. And tonight, I was stepping directly into his world. He moved closer, voice low, smooth but dangerous. You don't seem scared. Do you even understand what's happening? I understand enough, I replied evenly. I know that if I panic, I die. And I don't plan to die tonight. A flicker of amusement crossed his face, quickly replaced by calculation. You're confident. Dangerous. But confidence isn't always enough. I smiled. Maybe. But fear has never helped me before. And I don't intend to start now. The night became a battlefield. Every smile, every glance, every word had a hidden meaning. The Mafia boss, let's call him Hyun, watched me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. And I treated his scrutiny like a challenge. A waiter approached with champagne. I accepted the glass, swirling it slightly. So, do you always test people the moment they enter your home? I asked, keeping my tone casual. Hyun's eyes darkened. I don't test. I reveal. Everyone has a weakness. I just like to see if it's exposed. That's charming, I said lightly, though my pulse quickened. There was something thrilling about standing this close to someone whose reputation made even police officers nervous. Then the twist came. A man in a black suit approached, whispering something in his ear. Hyun's jaw tightened. Without looking at me, he muttered, "Take care of it." Before I could even process it, one of his men grabbed a package from the balcony and disappeared into the shadows. Something was happening, and I was caught in the middle. I realized something crucial. In his world, nothing was random. Every movement, every decision had weight. And somehow, I had to navigate it, without losing my edge. I leaned slightly toward him, testing the waters. Seems like your world is messy. Hyun's gaze snapped to me, intense. Messy. My world is precise. Everything happens for a reason. Even this night. Even you. A shiver ran down my spine. I wasn't intimidated, far from it, but his words hit in a way that made me rethink just how dangerous this was. I smirked. Even me? Yes, he said softly. Even you. Just when I thought I had read the room, the situation flipped again. A phone rang from across the room. One of his men answered, nodded sharply, and whispered something urgent. Hyun's expression darkened like thunder behind calm skies. He turned to me, a strange glint in his eyes. It seems tonight isn't just a party. Someone is testing me, and perhaps you too. I raised an eyebrow. Testing me? I thought I already passed the first test. He stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the faint heat from his body. Tests never end in my world. They evolve. Then came the real challenge. Hyun leaned in, voice dropping so low only I could hear. There's a woman, someone dangerous. She's in this building tonight. If she finds you, she won't hesitate. You must survive. And I want to see, if you can. My mind raced. I was trained to handle danger, but this was different. I wasn't just facing a stranger. I was being invited into a deadly game, where every step could be fatal, and yet, the thrill surged through me. I smiled. Survive? That's easy. His smile returned, sharper this time. We'll see. The night exploded into chaos. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Security shouted commands in Korean I barely understood. But I didn't panic. I moved toward the exit, analyzing every shadow, every corner. Hyun followed, not too close, just enough to let me know he was watching. He had a hand on the nearest security console, manipulating movements, but he didn't touch me. I realized he wasn't helping. He was observing. Waiting. And I loved it. I turned a corner and found myself face to face with her. A woman, dressed all in black, eyes sharp and predatory, blocked my path. I didn't flinch. I squared my shoulders, fists slightly clenched. "You must be her," I said, voice calm but firm. Her lips curled in a dangerous smile. "And you must be the one they warned me about." I realized she wasn't just another obstacle. She was a mirror, someone who could match me in skill, danger, and mind games. Without warning, she lunged. I ducked, rolling to the side. My training kicked in, reflex sharp. I caught her wrist mid-swing and twisted, forcing her back. "Impressive," she hissed, circling me. "But not enough." I smirked. "You'll have to do better than that." And that's when Hyun appeared behind her, calm as ever. "Enough," he said. "She's not your target." "Not yet." The woman glared at me, then bowed slightly before disappearing into the shadows. My adrenaline surged. That was the first real fight of the night, and I hadn't even started. Hyun looked at me, expression unreadable. "You survived. But surviving isn't the same as winning." "I didn't come here to win," I said boldly. "I came here to show I don't back down." He paused, then smirked. "Good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. If you think she can handle what's coming next, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe because the night is far from over." By midnight, the penthouse felt like a battlefield. Shadows lurked in every corner, alarms still echoing faintly, and the scent of tension was thick. Hyun watched me like a hawk, every movement of mine measured, every breath noted. I wasn't scared. Fear would get me killed, and I'd never allow that. But I could feel the weight of the night pressing down. This wasn't just a test anymore. This was survival. Then, the message came. My phone buzzed again. "She's back. Be ready." I didn't need to look, I already knew who she was. The woman who had ambushed me earlier wasn't just skilled, she was trained, lethal, and merciless. I tightened my grip on the edge of the marble counter. "Bring it," I muttered under my breath. It didn't take long. The lights flickered, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. I could hear footsteps, soft, calculated, deadly. I moved silently, feeling my way toward the center. "Impressive," a voice hissed in the dark. "You've made it this far. But now, it ends." I smiled in the shadows. "You don't know me yet." A swift strike came from the left. I twisted, catching her wrist and throwing her off balance. Our fight became a blur, strikes, rolls, parries, each move a deadly conversation. And then he appeared. Hyun stepped into the faint light, hands folded, calm, composed. "Enough," he said. But the woman didn't stop. She lunged again. I caught her arm, looked Hyun in the eyes, and said, "I'm not done yet. If she wants me, she'll have to get through me first." His gaze softened, not with warmth, but with respect. "I think I underestimated you." That's when I realized the truth. In his world, respect isn't given lightly. It's earned through courage, skill, and sheer audacity. And I was earning it, strike by strike, step by step. Finally, with a clever feint, I managed to disarm her. She fell back, breathing heavily, eyes wide with a mix of frustration and admiration. "Not bad," she muttered. "I didn't think anyone could." I didn't let her finish. "Stay down," I said firmly. She hesitated, then nodded, disappearing into the shadows once more. The room was quiet again. Just Hyun and me. He took a step closer, looking at me like he was seeing me for the first time, not as a challenge, but as a force to be reckoned with. "You survived," he said softly. "You didn't just survive, you dominated." I crossed my arms, standing tall. Surviving is the bare minimum. I came here to show strength. He smiled, a dangerous curve of lips that made the air crackle. "Strength and cunning. You're remarkable." I smirked. "You think I'm done?" "No," he said, shaking his head. "I think you've just begun." And in that moment, I realized something crucial. In a world ruled by fear, power, and danger, the true alpha isn't just the strongest. It's the one who controls her fear, who plays the game, and who never bows. And I was that alpha. I stepped closer to him, locking eyes. If this is a game, I'm not just playing. I'm rewriting the rules. He studied me, then nodded slowly. Perhaps, that's exactly what I need. But the night wasn't over yet. A loud crash echoed from the penthouse entrance. More of his enemies, more threats, but I didn't flinch. Hune's men moved with precision, but I stood firm. I wasn't a bystander in this world. I was a player. With every attack, every threat, I countered, maneuvered, and fought. Every glance I shared with Hune became a silent conversation, a recognition of power, respect, and understanding. By the time dawn broke, the penthouse was silent. The enemies were gone, defeated, or gone underground. Hune approached me, hands in his pockets, eyes calm but sharp. "You've survived everything I threw at you tonight," he said. "Most people would have broken, run, or begged. You didn't." "I don't beg," I replied, voice steady. "And I never run." He nodded slowly. "Then, perhaps you belong here. Not just in my world, but at my side." I let that sink in. A proposition, a recognition of my strength, my dominance. And yet, I wasn't just a subordinate. I was the alpha. I chose the terms. I took a slow step back, smirk on my face. I don't belong at anyone's side. I belong where I stand. He laughed softly, not in anger, but in admiration. "I think I like that about you." And that, my friends, was the night I realized the truth. In a world of danger, chaos, and power, the alpha doesn't bow. The alpha doesn't run. She dominates, she survives, and she decides her own fate. If you've enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts below. Could you survive a night in the world of a Korean mafia boss?